Hello everyone, my name is Ashutosh Mishra, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Now before moving on to the actual review of the book, first let's talk about Taylor Jenkins Reid. So Taylor Jenkins Reid is basically an author based in America, and she writes books like the Daisy Jones and the Six and the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Her latest book is Malibu Rising. So the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo was actually the first book that I've read from Taylor Jenkins Reid, and one thing that I've understood from her writing style and the plots and everything about her is that she basically focuses on fictionalized versions of the actual realities that we face in life. So, for example, her book, which is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo that I'm going to talk about right now, is actually a fictionalized amalgamation of several people, I can say, or several celebrities that we see in Hollywood. And also it touches upon their actual behind the scenes lifestyle. So through a fictional version of all these realities, she presents us a beautiful story, which is gripping towards the end, unputdownable and the best. One thing that I've understood about Taylor Jenkins Reid books, which is the first one that I've read, is Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And after that, I read Daisy Jones and the Six. And what I've understood from those books is that she has this amazing world that she has created where there are fictional version of the people we admire or the celebrities we see as, just some godly beings, right? And what I mean by godly beings is that when we see a person, like when we see a celebrity, for example, if we see Johnny Depp or Leonardo DiCaprio, these people, when we see them as an actor or something like that, at that point of time we just admire their work and admire their films, movies, acting, everything that comes under their work. So as we move ahead watching more of their content and watching their lifestyle and everything of that sorts, we just assume them to be a godly person. We just assume them to be something great, something grander. But what we don't see, what we underestimate actually, is that they are just as human as you are, as the audience, right? So when we, just admire them, when we get obsessed with their works, we give them some kind of God complex. We just push them towards a pedestal. And I think that's the main theme of this book that touches very perfectly. The other main theme that I'm going to talk about is the LGBT part of this book, which is really good and properly, decently presented in this book. So let's get on with the God complex thing. So what I wanted to say regarding that is that when we, just push a person on a pedestal, we actually perceive them as some god being, and we see them as, just the perfect people out there, and just like they are living in some kind of utopia. And what we underestimate is that they must be having flaws, they must be making some mistakes. And just when some kind of rumor turns around in the newspapers or magazines, we just go like, what the hell? Means like, how can this person do this thing? Like, we admired him so much, we just loved him so much and all of that. So when we realize that these people also have flaws, then actually we start to let them down or kind of insult them in publicly, and then we think negatively about themselves, and we just don't watch their work anymore, we just don't admire their art or anything like that. And then it becomes like a downfall of that person in our mind as an individual. And when it happens on a grander scale, it's much worse. So that's what basically this book tries to accomplish very perfectly. So let's talk about the plot, which I will be correlating with what I have previously said. So what happens is that Monique Grant belongs to an insignificant journalism company, and she has, which is known as Revon, and she has to approach Evelyn Hugo for a photo shoot. And what happens next is that it's totally unexpected, because as Monique Grant goes to Evelyn Hugo's house, she discovers something really different. And that's where actually the story starts, and the things start to unravel, and everything just opens up, which, Monique Grant didn't even expect, it to be. So as Monique Grant goes there, Evelyn Hugo is like, no, I don't want to do a photo shoot or anything like that. But what I have to tell you otherwise is that you have to write a telltale about me, and I want to tell the world the behind the scenes of my life, which many people admire, which many people, saw that as something of a letdown or downfall or something like that. And she wants to tell the people that what was her reality behind the scenes. So that happens, and Monique is like, out of all these great journalists and all of that, why have you chosen me? Why should I be the one person out of all these people to write your, biography? And then Evelyn Hugo, just says that you will find that at the end, that why you were the only person to be chosen for, writing this. And obviously, throughout the plot, you won't be able to predict what, why Monique has been chosen for this work at all. And it's totally unexpected. It totally comes as a shock, as a surprising thing at the climax of the book. And throughout the book, you will be filled with different emotions. You will see that there is something realistic about her character. And then you will be actually realizing that these people, the celebrities we admire, they are actually people. They have the same things. They go through the same life that we go through. Just their problems are different. Their issues are, just totally different from ourselves. And what we see on the social media, what we see managed by the managers and stuff like that, all of that is kind of a highlight that we see. And throughout this book, you will be noticing homophobia, you will be noticing domestic violence and all of that themes, which are actually important, and it needs to be discussed. And when you see these things through a fictionalized books, it all makes a proper sense. Like when we read a non-fiction, it might sound a bit boring or anything like that. You will feel draggy, or you will put it down. But when it comes to fiction, these themes can be actually presented in a very better manner. And that's why The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo stands a perfect example of, bringing out these themes in a perfect storyline. The one thing that I loved about this book, more than the themes that it was touching, is the realistic approach towards the romance part. I don't actually read romance books because, most of the books that are out there are basically cheesy storylines. They follow a same kind of plot, and, you start to predict the things that are going to happen towards the end. But that's not the case with Evelyn Hugo's life. She has 7 marriages that she has gone through. But even after going through all of these 7 marriages, she loves someone else, totally else. And that's actually the part where it all turns into an LGBT part. So I think that was a perfect sum up of the plot. I love the book very much, and it's just perfect. Right from start to end. So there were some parts where I felt like the story is, kind of shortened out, necessarily so, for the plot to be properly tight. And it actually is, because it doesn't waver around. It doesn't, just go into irrelevant themes or irrelevant storylines. It's all summed up pretty nicely. And throughout the end, you will understand that there were some Easter eggs that you could have connected to towards the end. Then obviously the ending comes as a shock, because then we get to know why Monique Grant was selected for writing this book. So that's the best thing. That's the best part, and it actually made me cry, because it's all worth it. Throughout the storyline, you will understand why it was worth it. So as the story is set in 1950s and 60s, you will be seeing the themes like homophobia and sexism and domestic violence. And also you can see that, during those times, women were, just looked down upon, and they weren't getting that much opportunities. Evelyn Hugo's story is kind of like an amalgamation of all those things. At that time, mostly women went through in the acting industry also, and in general also. So that was the part that can trigger some people, but obviously those were the times that these things happened. Now things have changed, and it should be seen like that. So the final thoughts for this book are like, it was a really good book. At start to end, it is just creates a kind of suspense. It is very easy to read. It's just 396 pages. The other thing that I loved about this book is the audiobook narration, which is done perfectly. Also, the same goes with the Daisy Jones and the Six, which I'll be reviewing in the upcoming week. But until then, this was all that I wanted to say about this book. I hope you liked it, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more such reviews. And please do let me know your feedback for the video, what you liked, what you didn't like, so that I can make changes, I can improve, and I will be consistent for that in the upcoming videos. So until then, I hope you stay safe. I hope you have a great life ahead. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.